Yeah, sorry I raped a guy. Anyways, I'm gonna do the stanky leg.
And we're back.
Yeah, we're back.
Welcome to the Nurdcast, where we tell offensive jokes and get our guest afraid of cancellation.
100% afraid of us
this
canceling
podcast
you.
has it all. We have sweet times. We've got some very personal stuff that you're gonna want to listen to if you're interested. If you're not interested, maybe listen to another episode where we tell a lot of jokes. But if you are, stick around. And we also have some pretty good jokes in here too, because we don't need to get personal all the time. This is kind of a rare thing. Oh, that's Isaiah. Isaiah. Isaiah is my favorite person in gaming. He is.
Damn!
Cut to that sprite of Isaiah. Oh man, I hate that.
That lovely spread that Chris made for me. I love it. I still love it. My friends, even when they see it, are like, "Damn, who made that? Looks cool." So yeah. Wait,
you
what?
think I'm not gonna abuse you for content? You're sorely mistaken.
I know I'm hot as hell, but I don't deserve that.
You know? Wait. You mean you think it's a fact? No, I'm kidding.
That's the fact, and you know it. You're just jealous of me.
You're just jealous of his big body.
You're jealous of my curvature.
I am jealous of the curvature of your orbit. Yeah.
Orbit. I am better than you. I have a literal orbit.
Guys,
Not
I'm
Orbeez,
superior in every
Orbit.
way. I've got an orbit.
You have Orbeez?
I've got Orbeez in my bathtub.
Isaiah is so large, he can pull you in, and he has a gravitational
Isaiah's so
force
large,
to
he
him.
makes me happy.
He makes all of us happy.
You think he makes everybody happy? I'm gonna be very, very sad when he eventually passes away.
Like tomorrow.
No one really likes me, so that's cool. Thanks,
No.
it's actually y'all.
We literally Isaiah.
We just said
Nobody really likes me. I mean, Isaiah.
We
We literally compliment you.
Serious.
We literally compliment you every episode. And
Oh, remember that.
Even when
I
you
really
weren't
don't.
here,
I was trying-
even when you weren't here, we were like, Isaiah, we miss you. Please come back.
Oh yeah, I'm looking that up. I'm gonna find
yeah,
that.
go to the Beancast. We're just like, peace, Isaiah, come back.
Baby, come back. Oh, even the Ernesto episode.
You can blame it all on me.
Wait, repeat that? Something about Ernesto? Is that what I heard? I hear the
Yeah,
man.
Ernesto. We had Ernesto on, and you weren't on that episode. We also had Sarah on. You also weren't on that episode. I think we had Sheldon on. You weren't on that episode either. I don't.
Well, it's time to shout it.
But you were on a Sheldon episode because Sheldon is a return guest. Because
Sheldon's
Sheldon's
already
just
funny.
that cool. Backed by popular demand.
I was such a returning guest.
Ernesto was
become
on
member of the
a
podcast.
couple Nerds plays though, so I mean he's a guest.
Wait, what?
Ernesto does not have the big appeal that Sheldon does though.
100%.
He touches into two demographics, both being white women. Because you know, if white women love one thing, it's Koreans and black men, and he's both. That's actually true. Actually, that's not even like per capita. White women love Koreans and black men.
Per capita, like they're a land of mass.
Have you seen white women?
I'm built like a landmass?
Yeah, no, they are very large.
And in charge. White women rule the world. That's all I'm saying. I don't know how. Oh, can we talk about abortion?
No.
I believe what happened is wrong. That shouldn't have happened. And that's where I'm. That's where I'm leaving it up.
You talk like a politician.
Well, it's because we're doing a podcast, Chris. I can't not talk about the politician.
Yeah. Okay.
According to the
Isaiah
guest,
likes
I have to
talking
be
not like a
offensive.
Yeah, do it right now.
Okay. I think that everything bad that happened is bad, and that we need to do things to fix it. And if we don't do things to fix it, it's gonna get worse. That's why we're all in this together. And if you look at the thing, we're all in this
That's
together.
pretty controversial. That is pretty
We're all
controversial.
in this together. We're
Bro,
talking
you
about
can't-
abortion. Get out of here.
I don't want to talk about abortion because we all have different opinions.
None of us do. I
I
don't
feel
want
like
to talk
me and you
about
have very similar opinions, Chris.
Well, our methods of abortion are different. I like scrambling the baby. You like slurping it up like boba. Like it's very strange.
I like
Eating the baby is
I'm like,
fine.
you.
You're
That's all I'm
swallowing
saying.
the fluid.
All I'm saying is that if I can't eat the baby, then abortion should be illegal.
Exactly. If I can't eat the child in my next meal, in my chicken, I can't do this. Now, here's what I was saying.
We're definitely cutting that one out.
You done?
Oh no! That is one of the worst things that I said in my life. I've been on a roll recently. Oh my gosh! Man, I feel kind of stinky because like I feel like a podcast should be a place where we have opinions and stuff. But I mean, I don't know, like I don't want Chris to be uncomfortable. I don't want Isaiah to be uncomfortable. Like, cause they're very set in their beliefs, but they don't like to be political. Like, there was me and Chris watched a political movie the other day, and he literally knew nothing about what was going on during it.
Honestly, no. I need to rewatch the movie because I was like, oh.
It was, to me, I thought it was really funny. Not only the writing, but the subtlety of like political satire. But it was just cause like, I don't know. I don't really keep up with politics. I just whenever a comedian makes a joke about something like political, I'm like, okay, I have to write that down. Maybe that's funny. But yeah, I noticed a lot of stuff in that movie that I really liked. But most of it was not because of politics. It was mostly
Christian
because
Bale.
of cinematography. No, it had nothing to do with Christian Bale. Christian Bale is a very mean man.
A Christian male?
Christian
Bale.
A hay bale?
is a very mean man.
Hay bale, yes.
He's a Christian hay bale. Why in the world? Why do y'all hate him?
Because he's very mean. He gets distracted very easily.
Oh, like me? Yeah, I get that. That's what Christians do sometimes.
Not in that way. In the yelly, I'm gonna kill you way.
Like
and
me.
he says, "Oh, good."
Can we just pull up Isaiah yelling at someone doing the lights and like, oh, good.
I hope it was worth it.
You're adopted.
Dude, I'm adopted? No wonder I'm so tall.
Anthony and Gilbert Gilbert mostly. Anthony's mid. He's like almost my height.
He's mid.
Anthony's mid? Whoa!
Whoa! We better not be talking about the same Anthony. I like that. Unless we're talking about the other Anthony. Because I also like that Anthony, but for different.
There's a lot of Anthonys. I don't know.
Everybody, you know, man's best friend dog because dog dumb. And Anthony, Chris's friend. This is not even the most offensive thing we've done. I think
100%.
Alex and Ernesto's episode were like abhorrently offensive. Where
I know.
I think Alex's episode was like 2 hours long and we had to cut a lot of it down.
Ernesto's it was like 3 hours long and we had to cut it down to 15 minutes. It was crazy.
No, but Ernesto's episode we only had to cut like 10 minutes because it was just a couple like words he said.
But then the Inferior J episode.
the Inferior J episode.
That was abhorrent.
Well, okay. The Inferior J episode. This is a notorious episode. Can we talk about this? Because
yeah, go ahead.
I think we've talked about it on the podcast and off the podcast. The Inferior J episode is one of the worst episodes we've ever recorded, and it will never see the light of day because it got lost on my old hard drive. But also, I think it also got lost on Chris's hard drive and Ernesto's hard drive because Ernesto deleted it because he was like, nothing happened in that episode. Chris deleted it because he said, this is unsalvageable, and I didn't delete it. I gave my computer away. So somebody out there somewhere has my old computer with that recording on it.
Yeah.
And so the reason it was so terrible was because the entire time I had to keep getting called in and out of the garage, which is where I record, to tend to my brothers, to get water, to use the restroom. Chris was kind of silent for a lot of it because I don't know what he was doing. our guest, quote unquote, was the most silent guest that we've ever had. And the reason we call it the Inferior J episode is because there was a school project that I was working on, and both of our names start with J. So I was like, I'm gonna name myself Superior J and him Inferior J. And on that project, we were also working with Sarah. So it was S, Superior J and Inferior J. So on that thing, we call it the Inferior J episode because that's what I made his name in Discord. And so on that episode, he did not talk. He talked for maybe like a minute for the entire like 2.5 hour episode because he was just not responding. The only thing he'd say was like, yeah,
oh,
yeah, I'm still here, like stuff like that. When we would ask him every like 10 minutes if he was there, and we didn't even like. At some point, I like left, and I come back to Ernesto talking about very sensitive topics. Chris not even responding that much, and I think Inferior J like left the call like entirely. I think he was just like muted, and he was muted and deafened, and he was just in the call, and he stayed in the call even after me and Ernesto and Chris like left the call. He was just gone. I don't know where he went, but he wasn't doing that much while he was in the call, so it didn't really matter. But yeah, I think Chris was probably playing Minecraft or something.
No, I was completely like just tabbed in Discord. I was just watching it all unfold.
The garbage fire that was Ernesto's hot takes and our guest saying nothing and me keeping having to leave.
I know you left completely.
I was very busy that day specifically. Like, what an awful day to be recording.
What a bad podcast, but that podcast is behind us now.
Yeah, it was like me, Chris, and Ernesto like regard it as like the worst episode that has ever been recorded. Like, it was like terrible. Like, Ernesto doesn't think his part was bad. He thought his part was informative or educational or whatever, because Ernesto thinks very highly of himself. But me and Ernesto and Chris all agreed that the fact that Inferior J was on that podcast carried, like, it shouldn't even have been a guest episode at that point. Like, it lended nothing. It was basically a solo podcast of Ernesto Alex Jonesing for like a couple seconds, and that was it. It was like an entire like InfoWars section with Ernesto, and he's like, yeah, I don't think gays should have rights, and it was like just that for, you know, even though he's gay, it's very strange. But it jeez, you know, like that, like, I think we recorded Left 4 Dead the day after or something, and I think I said something in that recording that I had cut out, but I was like, that was like the worst thing we've ever done. Like, even like a day after, I knew that it was going to be the worst recording. Since then, we haven't had bad recording. Well, we've had bad recordings, but they haven't been that bad. Like, the worst, this is probably like the worst since then, but like, this one's not even that bad. It's just kind of, you know? Even like some bad recordings, like we do some bad recordings where we'll like immediately, like, straight out the gate, like, just like not have anything to talk about, or like we'll be silent for like 5 minutes, and then we'll be like, oh, we're still recording, you know? Because there will be time where, because like Isaiah notoriously and infamously plays video games during his podcast sometimes.
Oh, don't do that right now. Shut up. Don't call me out like that.
So he does that. So he's kind of like half tapped in. That's why mine and Chris's impression of him is always, huh? Because he's kind of just like tuned out. Huh? But yeah, he
really tuned out. Yes, sir.
He does that. So like there'll be times where me and Chris will be like talking and Isaiah will not say a word for like 10 minutes, and then it'll be like me and Chris will be like, Isaiah, you there? And he'll be like, yeah. And so we'll be like, okay, we need to scrap this because Isaiah is not being very involved.
Oh?
Yeah.
Oh?
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 Oh? I love that. Now I get it. I understand.
So yeah, I'm very a lot of the work goes on Chris's shoulders, I will admit. Like,
yeah,
I just do the audio editing. Chris does the video editing mostly.
And I do nothing other than exist.
Isaiah sits there and does mostly nothing. Like, he contributes his conversation. He has really nice stories, and he's very funny. But
I am not funny. People say I am. I don't get it. I don't get the joke.
Isaiah, if people say you're funny, you're funny. Let's just take a compliment. Yeah, beautiful man.
Well, I'm sorry that I was raised a certain way to the point where I can't say
something else. I thought you were gonna say something else.
What am I gonna say? What?
Something that rhymes with raised, but different consonant. Anyways.
Oh hell no!
This video or this episode
is chaotic.
Is terrible.
100%.
Okay, there is an episode like when I recorded it back in like super early Nurdcast days, and I called it Failed Nurdcast because at some point in the episode I muted my mic and I didn't notice. So I only got like 15 minutes of salvageable stuff. And it's gone now because I deleted it. It sucked really hard. Because at some point it was me and Chris, and we were like talking, doing podcast things. And then at some point I muted my mic. I don't know when it happened. I think I remember when it happened. I said I needed to go do something. Like I was like, oh, mom called me. I'll be right back. And I muted my mic, and I never took it off on mute. And me and Chris did an entire podcast without any of it being recorded. It was like back in the super old days, like season 1.
So like 2018.
Yeah, it was like 2018, 2017. So it was like
2019.
Definitely not 2019. 2019, I did like one episode, and that was with Josh.
Shout out to Josh.
Shout out to Josh. He was a veteran, like of the podcast. He was like the first, like him and this kid named Adrian, who I had on the first episode. If you go back and listen to that episode, I'm sorry. We need to go back to those episodes and edit them, I think.
Yeah.
That's what I think we need to do. I think I need to delete the entirety of season 1 and like just take those episodes and edit them into the actual good moments, which there might not be a lot of, so we can just make like a best of thing, and it might only be like 2.5 hours, even though the whole like it in its entirety is like 11 hours. I think there might only be like 2 hours, maybe, if we're lucky, of salvageable audio. But yeah, that is definitely gonna be something that I want to do. It shouldn't be too hard. A lot of it is just gonna be cutting out. Like, because there are, like, we didn't start editing the podcast until episode 12. That's why when anybody asks, oh, you have a podcast? And I'm like, yeah, watch from episode 12 onward. Because episodes 1 through 11 are really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And
like, the audio quality is not good. In the first episode, the podcast wasn't even named Nurdcast. It was named Let's Talk. The second episode, it was also named Let's Talk. And the third episode is when I came up with the name because I named this classroom Nerds. And it was a Google Classroom I had with my friends because I was in middle school. So I was like, wouldn't it be funny if I had a Google Classroom? And I had the Google Classroom, and it was named Nerds. And I invited Chris to it. I invited Aiden to it, who was on, like, I think he was on the second episode and third episode. And on, like, the 5th episode, I don't remember. But Aiden was my super old friend from middle school. Josh was my friend from middle school. We kind of talk a little bit, but we don't talk, like, a lot. But yeah, he and Josh were on the second episode, and yeah, and he was there, Josh was in there, I think Adrian was in there, but he didn't really do anything, Chris was in there, and Elijah was in there. I don't know where that classroom went. I can check to see if it's still there. Like, it might actually still be there, and I'll be very surprised if it is.
That would be awesome, honestly.
I might have deleted it. Like, honestly, I might have deleted it. But if I didn't delete it, that'd be very strange.
Yeah, it's just gone from existence.
Yeah. If it's still there, I will be very, very surprised.
Yeah.
But if it's not there, it's whatever. Like, you know. It's still here. It's still here. Dude, I'm not joking. It's still here. Check it out, dude. Check it out. Hold up. I'm shocked. Dude. It's still here. Oh, wow.
Bro.
Oh, dude. Wow.
That's crazy.
Wait, what?
That is crazy. It's still there. And it still has the animated banner I put on it. Dang, when was this classroom created? Let me see. When was this created? It should be, okay. No, that was just when I uploaded the old Nerd. That was in 2018 when I uploaded that weird papyrus thing. It says drive file unknown because I deleted it. The only 3 people in this classroom, are Elijah's old account, Aiden's old account, and Josh's current Google account is still in this classroom. That's
put like, hey, what's up, or whatever.
I don't think he's gonna get an email about it, but you know, whatever. Let's do it. Whatever. Yo.
The old days of Nurdcast are something fabled because we all are now different from then, but like it's like a period in our lives where it was just sort of
we were just kind of doing whatever. We didn't really have responsibilities or anything.
Yeah, we were like playing Agario while recording our voices. We were playing Town of Salem. Yeah, we were just doing like we weren't doing it correctly, but like we
had a concept, but we were very like amateurish.
Definitely. If you listen back to those to the season 1 on Spotify,
still kind of like remembers like because the way we explained it to him, because Isaiah was kind of pining for us to bring it back. Like Chris has always been like kind of, hey, when are we gonna record again? Since he was like when we stopped doing the episodes, like I think it was around 2018. Chris kept asking me consistently throughout, like every time, like, hey, do you know when we're gonna be recording an episode? Hey, do you know when we're gonna be recording an episode? They kept doing it. And I was like, I don't know, man. And then Isaiah was like, hey, I'd be down to record an episode. And he was asking me consistently for like a year. And then I was like, you know what? Let's do it. I don't have a good computer or a good microphone, but let's just do it. And that's the first episode of season 1. Is when I was just like, you know what? It's fine. You know?
First episode of which season?
Season 2, I mean. Like, we recorded it twice, or 3 times, I think. Because I think the first time we recorded it, it got lost in Chris's computer, because at the time I wanted him to edit it, because he's like, oh yeah, I could edit it. And it got lost in his computer. I think he said that the file corrupted or something.
Yes, I was very bad at recording stuff. Every time you asked me to record something, it would go wrong somehow. Yeah. I don't know how. I was so bad. I would just I was just very unlucky with like my files corrupting or whatever.
Yeah, the first episode we recorded, I actually recorded with that weird Craig bot. I had to compile all the audio myself. Which was that was definitely a learning experience.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, the sensors are really bad, because at the time, I knew what I wanted to do. Like, this is always the part. Like, I know what I want to do, it's just getting there that's kind of, difficult, you know? Like, I'm always like, hey, I'm gonna do this. And then I'll do it, and I'm like, that is not anything like I thought it was going to be. Like, I'm trying to think of a video where I did that, besides, you know, Nurdcast, but yeah, the second time I had Chris record it, and he was like, "Oh, there's not enough space in my Google Drive to send it to you," and I was like, because I was like, I can edit it. And he's like, "Oh yeah, there's not enough space in my Google Drive to send it to you," because he was recording it on like OBS actually OBS.
Yeah.
And he couldn't send it to me because there wasn't enough space or something. So I was like, dang it, right? So the third time I was just like, whatever, let's use Craig. And I used Craig. I did all the editing and stuff. And when the episode came out, that was the most proud I've ever been of the podcast. I was like, dang, like, this is actually something, like, contingent. It's not boring. Like, we're actually making something. It's not as refined. Like, if you go back and look at that episode, it is not refined at all. It's just kind of, you can kind of see where it's going, you know? It's like, it's like not, it's like a steel rod that's not shiny yet. That's not into like a shiny rod that like holds something. It's just, it's like a drawing. It's like a blueprint. It was basically a blueprint of what we wanted. That is the first episode of season 2. And slowly over time, we've come to build the what I wanted in the like earlier episodes. But you know, it's just it's a very difficult thing to like gauge, like if you don't know what you're doing, you know. And for the longest time, I didn't. And then, like, it felt like something was coming together. It felt like this is actually a passion thing. Like, I actually want to see where this goes. And that first episode, I remember my mom listened to, and grandma listened to, and your dad listened to. And they all thought it was great. And that was when I decided to be like, okay, for sure I have to cut out curse words now, because my mom listens to this. And that is just kind of stays consistent because I was like, I'm gonna make every episode like I'm making it for my mom to listen to. And that's kind of that's actually a really good, like, for the second episode, we recorded it and it was good. The third episode though, was it the fourth episode or the third episode?
What?
Nurdcast, which was 2021 is a disaster. Is that the second episode?
That's the fourth one.
Okay, so that episode, we can get personal here. Like, I'm gonna get really personal. And I'm not gonna cut it out because this is part of my life that is important to the Nurdcast. By the way, I love how I'm making this episode salvageable. So there's it's a big part of my life. So in 2021, super early 2021, my mom passed away. And so when that happened, I did not want to record anything. I did not want to make YouTube anymore. I did not want to like record any of the like Nurdcast. I literally told Isaiah and Chris, like, I'm not doing this for a long time. And I was just out of motivation. Like I lost most motivation in my life. And at the time, Isaiah was there. Chris was kind of in his weird phase that thank God he broke out of. He was in a phase where he was like super sensitive. So he was kind of in a not talking to me phase. Because, you know, I'm not the best at telling jokes, honestly. Like, I'm more heavy-handed. Like, I can tell some really offensive jokes. As you may or may not know, depending on how this is edited, I'm very, I tell very offensive jokes, and so Chris was kind of in a, I feel uncomfortable around you. Hey,
Hey, that is an inside joke, by the way.
Yeah.
We can't keep saying that joke in podcasts.
It's fine. It's fine. It's whatever. You know, like I think it's funnier that we think it's funny. But so he was in that kind of period. So I was mostly hanging around Isaiah during that time. And so when that happened, I was kind of like, I was in the mindset, and I still kind of am, which is not healthy, where I don't like to think about it. Like, this is not good advice at all. Like, if you're going through something bad, the best thing to do is confront it. Because if you don't confront it, it will get worse.
It will haunt you. It will literally.
Get worse and worse.
Trust me, I know too. It will
But
literally.
I am not doing it, and I chose
And
to
I'm
not.
proud of you for it every day.
I am not confronting it. I am running away from it. Like I told Isaiah. I told, or I think I told Chris. Chris was at my house the other day.
Like, and I'm proud for it every day. Wow.
He was talking about how we all handle like tragedy. And it was, I gave like an analogy. Chris handles tragedy with a like shield of like kindness and compassion and like just his sunny disposition with life, because he's very much an optimist no matter how he thinks about it. He's very, you know, he doesn't like to think about bad things, and you know, he's just kind of like, but look at it this way, you know, he's like a little ray of sunshine, as like, you know, as weird as that sounds. He's the happiest person I know. So what I said is like, tragedy is like a fireball, right? Is what it does is it hits you, and it hits him in his shield. So the shield is his protection. That's his shield. And the only damage he gets is from the steaming shield afterwards. But Isaiah is more of a, I don't need a shield. Why do I need a shield? I'm strong enough for the fire. I'm just gonna let it all come and hit me. And so he throws his shield aside and just like lets it overtake him. I, on the other hand, am the like most toxic out of that, which is I don't have a shield, and I'm not gonna let it hit me, so I take off. But I'm not faster than the fire. I'm just slow enough for it to burn my back, and just continue to burn my back and never catch up with me. Just continuous pain, but it's very slight pain. And in retrospect, if I did stop and let it hit me, it would probably destroy me. But I'm at a place where I'm not ready to deal with it. So I am just kind of, I'm sitting in it. Like I'm sitting, waiting for it to come, like hit me again, and I'm gonna take off. Because that's what I've been doing. I've been keeping myself distracted, which is what this podcast is for me. This podcast, like I've said multiple times, is a coping mechanism. I think I've said it on the podcast too. This is a way for me to distract myself from everything. Like life, like inside this podcast is different than life outside of this podcast for me. Like we make jokes about like me having a lot of responsibilities and stuff. But it's very difficult. Especially because I'm not an adult yet, so it's kind of it's heavy. But and then of course Chris has like kind of this thing hanging over him where he's like, okay, so Jeremiah's going to the Marines. What are we gonna do? Because I think Chris loves this just as much as me and Isaiah do. Isaiah probably a little bit less so, but Isaiah just kind of, he likes the kind of distraction too, I think. Because Isaiah would just like be like, I want to call you guys, I want to talk to you guys without recording. Like, I like that about Isaiah, but he's, you know, sometimes he's not in the mood to record and we can just talk. And Chris is more like, he's always coming up with ideas for the podcast, because he's always wanting to improve and all that. But he also likes hanging out with us. And Isaiah and Chris have this energy with each other, which is weird because they met when we started recording the podcast.
We met.
We
met like almost 3 years ago. I think
they were
something like that.
They
right?
did not know each other before this podcast. I kind of just segued him in because Chris was only going to be the only guest. Or not Chris. Chris was going to be the only like co-host. It was going to be me and Chris, and Isaiah was going to be our first guest. And the first time we recorded it, we treated Isaiah like a guest. The second time we recorded it, we treated him as a guest as well. The third time, Isaiah was like, I just want to be on it now. Isaiah was down. So now Isaiah is a co-host because he showed that through the 2 lost recordings even, he still wanted to be on it. He's like, I want to do this every time you do it. And it was really cool to have that kind of, I don't know, that support in this thing. So basically, what I'm saying is, if you have something that is distracting you from pain, maybe take a look back at the pain and wonder if it's easier to confront it now or later. Because I'm literally going to the Marines because I don't want to be here. Not be here as in be alive, be here as in be in my house. Every time I exist in my house, I don't want to. And it's a very difficult thing. And I will bear the heat of this garage just to distract myself. It is 100 degrees in this garage. And I am sweating. And I am very uncomfortable because I'm wearing long sleeve and pants, but I don't want to get bitten up by mosquitoes, so I'm just kind of chilling. And I'm still willing to do that because it's, to me, even though it's probably not, it's easier than being inside. And, yeah. So I'm not doing so hot, but I'll be okay. I'm doing better. Like, I'm getting better. So, it's growth. And this podcast got very personal, but I am kind of happy that it did, because we can just keep it personal for a little bit and then, like, go to funny joke. But, like, I'm trying to think. It's very easy to think about, like, hey, let's joke around the entire time. But, like, I find the easiest recording sessions for me, Chris and Isaiah, is the ones where we laugh the hardest. We laughed pretty hard during this one, but we're cutting a lot of it out because it was at some very terrible things. But we could also get some, like, very personal. Like, I'm okay with getting personal because as of right now, nobody really listens to this. We like to say that people do. All, like, 36 of you per episode, but, like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if anybody listens to this, like, proactively. I don't know if anybody's like, ooh, I can't wait for that new Nurdcast episode, you know? So right now I'm kind of more comfortable. Because to me, this podcast is what it always has been. Just me talking to some friends. Like, that's why I called the first one Let's Talk. And it wasn't Let's Talk with people that are watching me. I called it Let's Talk, as in me, my friend Adrian, and my friend Josh. I was like, let's just talk. Let's record ourselves talking and see what happens. And I didn't think that it would get this, like, intricate, yeah. More, you know, it's very, I'm very happy that I have something like, I'm not taking it for granted at all. Like, and I'm very happy that I have friends like you and Chris. Chris is just my cousin, but he's one of my favorite people on planet Earth. Like, he's probably my favorite person. Isaiah,
I'm my
you are
favorite
very,
person
very
also.
close to
He heard it. Wow.
He's blood, so it's kind of that's the only reason. But you guys are pretty much equal besides the whole him being my cousin and I've known him longer thing. But you guys are very, very like close to my heart, and I literally couldn't picture this podcast without either of you. Like, even when the Beancast was happening, me and Chris were like, yo, this needs Isaiah. This literally needs it. Like, and it's not particularly because you are very contributive. It's just because when you're not here, we miss you. Same with you, Chris. Like, when me and Isaiah are hanging out, Isaiah and me are always like, man, it'd be great if Chris was here. Like, and Isaiah, you too. Every time like literally the past 2 times, me and Chris has come to my house and spent the night. He was like, man, it'd be really cool if Isaiah was here. Like, we were like, just like, man, I appreciate both of you, like, for real. Like, Isaiah and Chris, you guys are both, like, fantastic people. Great co-hosts, like, just in general. Because Isaiah can tell a story. Chris is funny, like 75% of the time, and most of the rest of the time is informative.
75%.
He just knows stuff like about the world. Like, he's like, oh, did you hear that this happened? That's the 25%. 75% of it is funny. And then I'm the kind of, I don't know how to podcast really without people. Like, even Chris knows this from a stream I did of Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
It's just, I was lost. I was literally like, there is nothing I can do. Like, by myself, I am not funny. Because by myself, I'm usually quiet. I don't talk to anybody. And even Isaiah and Chris will tell you, when we're out, like, I do not talk to people. I talk to Isaiah 100%. And Chris like this. I'm only talking like this because it's Isaiah and Chris. Like, normally, nope, I'm not talking. Like, even with Sarah and Ernesto, they were just really close friends. Like, I was just like, I'm comfortable with you, so I'll talk like this. Alex as well. I had known him a lot longer than I known Ernesto, so it was kind of a more friend thing. And that's why I was okay with him saying all those very terrible, horrible things. I wish you would come back. Please come back, Alex. We miss you. You were one of the greatest guests of all time. We didn't deserve you when you were here. But, what's it called? We have been getting more, I wouldn't say popular, but more like people know about us. But that's mostly due to Chris and his tentacle-like influence and reach. He's just got his little tendrils in everything. So yeah. He's like PR. He's just like he's talking to people, and he's like advertising too. He's like, hey, so blah blah blah, you know how we're friends? Yeah, I only became friends with you so you can come on my podcast. Please come on my podcast.
Damn.
That is exactly right,
bro.
I'm sorry.
Is that why you hung with me? Damn. Well, it worked.
No, I'm kidding. Oh man. But anyways, yeah, and Isaiah is very, whenever he wants to record, me and Chris are immediately like, okay, let's record. Like, like, at all if he wants to record. Like, because it is once in a blue moon that Isaiah wants to record. Because Isaiah is kind of, not to be, whatever, but Isaiah is...
Not to be racist.
Not to be racist, kind of black, but... No, that has nothing to do with why he doesn't want to...
Oh, I forgot to show the audience. Never mind, we're good.
It's personal stuff, but Isaiah has his reasons for not wanting to record, shall I say.
A lot of stuff.
And so, whenever he doesn't want to record, me and Chris don't make a fuss. We're just like, cool, do you. And whenever he does want to record, me and Chris are like, I've already got my water. I've already got OBS open. Let's do this, right? And that is why Isaiah is the glue of this podcast. I feel like this podcast is like a machine, I think. Like, I think I am the engine. I'm just kind of like doing that over and over again. Chris is the steering wheel, and Isaiah are the wheels. Isaiah is the wheels. He is all of the wheels, and so we don't go without Isaiah moving, like, because Isaiah needs, because if without Isaiah, it would just be an engine with a steering wheel. But he is the wheels, so he is the thing that keeps us going. Chris is the steering wheel because he keeps us on track, keeps us on schedule. He does a lot of the editing. I'm just the engine because I'm just kind of making the car go. Like, that's what
You can't have a car go without the S. All right.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can, because I feel like an episode could work with you guys. It's like pushing the car down a hill without an engine, but with a steering wheel. So you're like steering, but you're not really controlling where it's going. It's just kind of going down in any direction.
But the only issue is
going down, down as in downhill. I'm just meaning like gravity-wise, like, without an engine, it's kind of nothing. But it's kind of, once the thing stops, it stops, right? But with an engine, it's kind of continuous motion. And we are a machine, I think. Like this podcast, like the Beancast is literally what I said. It's an engine with a steering wheel and no wheels. Because Isaiah is, like, even then, like, I've said this before, we were like really wanting Isaiah to come back when we were doing the Beancast. Like, it's just because he is a presence that makes me and Chris happy. He is he's comforting. Like, if Isaiah's in the call, I am extremely happy. When he's not in the call, I'm pissed off because Chris is being No, I'm kidding.
No, that's usually the case.
No, I'm not that mad when he's not in the call.
Mad?
Well, it's because sometimes Chris says some stuff and I'm like, I've got to go. No, I'm kidding. That only happens the other way around.
I've got to go.
Yeah, Chris always has to go because I'll say something like that. Me and Chris kind of just, whenever we're in here, we don't really, I don't know. It's different when you're not there. Like, even when, like, me and Chris can hang out. Like, it's just that when we added you to this, like, equation thing, it was, like, impossible to think about the equation without you. You know? Does that make sense? Am I making sense?
Kind of like A squared plus B squared equals C squared without the flipping squared. It's supposed all without it.
Yeah, I hope I'm making sense. Because what I'm trying to say is that this podcast is, like, every person on this podcast isn't really replaceable, should I say. So I can get where Chris's stress is coming from.
Yeah, 100%. Because I also am not that stressed about it because I already know that we might have a plan for it, but I could see that, and I absolutely understand it.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to communicate. If I am, then I will definitely try to contact you guys and see if we can get something going. And hopefully by then Chris and Isaiah have computers, and Isaiah has a good mic and is out of his parents' house and all that good stuff.
You say like I'm a 40-year-old man.
Well, you're about to be 18. I'm about to be 18.
You're about to be 40 anyway, so.
Yeah, exactly. Give me like
you're about
30
to be
years.
50. Cuts to Chris's dad.
Oh.
Throw up that picture of your dad standing in front of your dead corpse.
That happened.
Picture. I like that.
Wait, Chris, you're undead? I didn't know that.
Yeah, my fault.
The legend of Zelda. But yeah, he what was I saying? I got so distracted. I just said something about redheads. What?
Chris is a redhead? Oh, who'd have thought?
Chris is a redhead. And we're Did I tell you that I was gonna do a Blender thing where I was gonna do a sculpture in Blender and make me, you, and Isaiah, and have us sitting at like the rectangular table or whatever,
Oh, you want to do that?
Yeah,
and make it back up for Nurdcast.
Yeah, and make it and have the neon actually like light up and have it be the background.
See, that was the original thing that I wanted to do for the background because I wanted it to kind of base it off of what's it called, the Super Mega podcast, the Super Mega Cast background, where like Ryan's cigarette is like still like ignited and it's smoking and it's got that little like cool 60 FPS smoking effect and have the just the lights in the background just kind of flickering. I wanted to do that kind of.
Shout out to our forefathers in podcasting.
Foreskin fathers.
Our foreskin fathers. You're so right. There are 3 important podcasts that have influenced this podcast.
And one important thing that influenced us to just do whatever, like do video game stuff.
Yeah, and it's kind of a branch off of the other thing.
Worm's Keemstar.
So let's just talk about them right now. There is the one that influenced me to start podcasting when I was little, and by little I mean like when I was like in 6th grade when I did the first one.
Jeez, yeah.
And that one, when was that? That was 2015, 16. And so.
Wait, the podcast? No, that's when the podcast started?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I thought the first episode was made in like February of 2018.
No. It was I think you're thinking of the second episode.
You sure?
Because the second episode was actually named Nurdcast.
Okay.
The first one was just called Let's Talk, and it was a live stream on Google Hangouts.
Oh yeah, okay.
And I was literally in elementary school when I did it. So if you listen back to that podcast, it's really great.
And now he's graduated. Oh.
Yeah, and now I'm graduated from school entirely. But when 2015, I got my main inspiration to start podcasting was a little number called Sleepycast, and it was and is my favorite podcast. And it ended like 3 years ago. And
it ended in 2019?
Yeah.
Okay.
The last episode was in 2019. It was in like December 2019, so it was almost 2020.
Oh, geez, yeah, that's actually less sooner than I thought.
Yeah. So that was the last episode, and I was like distraught because I was like, I love this podcast, but like I was very happy about, like, because it ended for good reason. Like it didn't end for, like, for ending's sake. It ended because everybody on that podcast got too successful to keep doing the podcast. Like, you couldn't keep doing it and have a job, Like, Mick is a very successful voice actor now. And, obviously, Zach has a freaking Adult Swim show now.
No way, really?
And Jeff and Corey are working on video games, specifically one video game. Shout out to Nightmare Cops, whenever that's. And then Chris has his little Let's Play thing, but he also works on music for other video games. And he worked on music for Zach's for Smiling Friends.
Yeah.
And who else? Niall just kind of chills. Niall's kind of he does. I think he does editing for other people's stuff. But I think he's a photographer, so I think that's what he does.
Sounds like a simple life.
And Stamper is also a voice actor. Stamper and Mick are very good voice actors. So they do a lot of stuff. Like, I know a lot of people of the podcast might not know Mick or Stamper, but they might know like a video that they're in, or a movie or a TV show that they're in, because they're in a lot of stuff. And so that podcast basically inspired this one. And the one that made me want to start recording again was the official podcast. Not the again as in again, like again as in when the second or third episode came out. excuse me. That one was the official podcast because I had been listening to that podcast and I was like, oh, this is a really nice podcast too. And so that one was a really good one. I haven't watched the official podcast, or I haven't listened to the official podcast in a while, if I'm being honest.
I listened to the last episode. They're doing all right.
That's good. I'm glad. The last episode I listened to was the one with Zach and Michael.
Ooh, that was like one of my favorites.
Yeah. And if I'm being honest, the only reason I found out about the official podcast was because I hate everything was on. And that was like the first episode I watched. Was episode 9. Was it episode 9 or 7? I don't remember. But it was one of those episodes. So whatever episode that was on, that was the first episode I watched. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna consistently watch this for like 2 years. And I consistently watched it for like 2 years. And then in 2020, during the beginning of the pandemic, I think, I kind of just was like, and I just kind of clicked on it. I don't know. I just kind of lost interest. I listen to it every now and then though. Like if I'm like, oh, they had this person, I'll listen to it. And it has nothing to do with them. I guess it's just I've been trying to not listen to other podcasts because of the fact that I had tended to compare myself to those other podcasts. Like, even Chris had this problem with one of the main people that inspired our Let's Plays, which is Oni Plays. He found himself comparing us to them, and I was like, Chris, they're literally professionals. They've been doing it for longer than we've been on YouTube. Like, you know,
they've been doing this longer than Isaiah's been alive.
Well, a couple of them, but it's kind of it's a very unfair standard to set yourself to. You need to grow in your own way. You need to
grow up.
You need to grow up, Chris. I've been telling you this. You need to stop sucking on your thumb and wearing that baby bonnet. Nobody wants to see that. Get that out of here. Stop wearing diapers in front of my children. You would think I want my children seeing you wearing diapers and pooping in front of them? I don't think they want that.
Yes.
You think my children want to see you stare them in the eyes as you shit yourself?
That story was amazing.
That was a good story. Oh man. But yeah. So, and then the last one is the Super Mega Cast. That one was one that I listened to at the same time I listened to the when I stopped listening to the official podcast, I started listening to the Super Mega Cast, which was 2020. Because I had already been watching Super Mega, but I was like, oh, another podcast. Because at that point, I think it was in like 2018, 2019 that everybody was doing a podcast. Like, it was literally, okay. It was literally like.
Hold that up.
Okay. It was like, it got kind of. Now, especially now, the podcast market is oversaturated and is now in like main culture. Like, celebrities have podcasts now. That's how mainstream it is. Like, it was like, I'm not gonna say it was like kind of. It was back in the day. It was kind of a niche, right? And it was kind of a why do any high effort content where we could just sit down and talk. And that was mostly the reason why Sleepycast did it, because they were like, we always talk like this, it's just that we don't record it. Yeah, we could just monetize this. So they just kind of did. And that is genius right there. And that's kind of what I wanted to do. And then eventually I grew an attachment to this. And I was like, oh, it's a lot more for me than what it originally was. I'm mesmerized by this gift, by the way. I like how magic is not in the center of the screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I like how he tweens. Their eyes tween, look at. You can see the in-between frames. Anyways, but those are the 3 podcasts that inspired us. And we already talked about how Oni Plays kind of inspired the whole Let's Play part. But I think I was very, like, my original channel was super duper inspired by PewDiePie. Like, I'm just gonna say that. Like, PewDiePie was like my break into Let's Play. He was a big inspiration. And I remember when I was a kid, I was fascinated because I'm like, he screams on YouTube and millions of people watch him scream at a game that's not that scary. I want to do that.
Let me do that.
Let me do that. So I was like, I was very fascinated. I think the first Let's Play series I saw of him was his Conker's Bad Fur Day series, which was a long time ago. I don't even know if it's still up. Let me check to see if that's still up. Let me look up Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Yeah, remember Conker's Bad Fur Day, the video that we recorded?
Yeah, remember that?
That was a good recording.
That was a pretty good recording.
That was my favorite recording. My friends love it. Whenever I show them, they start dying laughing. They love it.
Yeah, Isaiah was.
They start dying.
Isaiah was very funny.
I know. I was playing Roblox in that video.
You were very funny in the 2021 episode.
Which one?
2021 is a disaster. Was great.
Yeah, I told Chris he needs to animate a clip from that because he wants to learn how to do animation to animate something for the podcast. And I'm like, go for it, champ. And I give him a good old slap on the face.
On the face, it hurts.
It hurts.
I start crying.
It's still red. You can still see my hand red. But I just started a live video.
Oh, let's watch his live video. No, I'm kidding.
I'm not gonna do that. But
do it right now.
Let's have it exactly a little bit of audio from that. Let's see what he's saying. Let's see if he's talking mad crappers. Oh, he's playing Dante's Inferno.
Devil May Cry.
Devil May Die.
Devil May Cry.
That is a very creepy video. It's Daniela had her close friend story, and her close friend story was her running up and down a field.
What?
It was just her running with her phone in her hand down a field, and I was like, okay. And there was no talking. There was no talking. It was just...
I don't know why I'm mad, because that was before you said with her phone, but like,
You just like pictured like the phone somewhere else, and then just her running.
Yeah, just her running towards the camera nonstop.
Throw that Linkara clip.
Like Linkara, yeah.
I wish I had pictures of Daniela, because I would tell you to draft that picture of her onto it.
I wish I had pictures of Linkara.
I have several pictures of Linkara.
I mean, to be fair, I have a Linkara shrine in my closet. No one's seen it.
You have a Linkara shirt. I'm sure there is a top the fourth wall merch. I was about to say, do you think? Yeah.
Welcome to Top the Fourth Wall.
Bad comments, bro. Isaiah, did you ever watch Channel Awesome? Or was it just me and Chris? Because I think Chris only watched Nostalgia Critic on Channel.
Yeah, no, I only watched Nostalgia Critic. And I watched him again for the Room video, and then that came out, and I was like, oh no, it's so bad.
I never actually watched Channel Ops. I'm thinking about it, I was like, did I watch it? No.
You've never watched the Nostalgia Critic? You've never watched the Nostalgia Critic?
Oh, Nostalgia Critic? No, I haven't.
Did you watch the Angry Video Game? The Angry Video Game.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, okay.
Huh?
Okay, then okay.
I didn't say huh. I said who?
Who?
Who? Who?
Another inside joke. Yes, we're bringing it back. I love the casual, almost racism.
Almost racism.
almost racist instead of accidental racist. Have you heard of accidental racist, Chris?
No.
Paisley and LL Cool J.
No, actually.
I think the song starts by saying, "I didn't mean nothing bad. I was just a Leonard Skinner fan," or something like that. And it's because on his shirt he's wearing a Leonard Skinner shirt, and one of the Leonard Skinner shirts is
it's a Confederate flag.
Weird song. Like I'll actually put it on after we finish recording, because we might finish this recording a little bit, because this recording's already been on for like 2 hours. But we really have to cut out a lot of it, so I just tried to salvage it with as much filler as we could. And I still did the thing where we did the intro, and we're gonna cut it in the beginning. So yeah.
I was saying, but if I like go off topic real quick.
Oh, for sure, dude. We're about to be done with the recording anyways. You could just end it with whatever you're gonna say. Except,
you can just end it all right now.
That was a pretty good way to end the last episode. Just, what's a clitoris?
I do remember that. My friend I think was there for that one.
Yeah. But, okay, so backstory. He did not actually say that at the end of the thing. That was somewhere in the parts that we cut out. But I left it. I told in the episode, I cut it out because I was like, this is going to ruin the joke that I have planned for the video. So I explained the joke, which was like, because we were talking about like big bulbous clitorises or something, which we can leave that in because we're just saying something. And during that part, Isaiah says, "What's a clitoris?" And it was because it was preceded and followed by silence. Nobody was talking, and he just goes, "What's a clitoris?" And it was like 2 seconds of silence, and I was like, "Cool, I got that 2 seconds of silence and the like 3 seconds of silence at the beginning. I can put that in at the end, like be like, okay, bye, and then just have the what's a clitoris?" And I was like, "That's the joke," and I'm doing it right now. And I think that was the first edit I did of the video, and I was very proud of myself for that one.
You know, it was very good because I don't remember it being in the middle of the video, but I just remember like editing it, and it was just, "What's a clitoris?" And I was like, "Why did he say that?"
I got water out of my nose. But yeah, Isaiah, internet funny man Isaiah, back at it again with his questioning of the female genitalia.
Well, I didn't know what the hell it was, so I asked. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I was raised a certain way, okay?
That has nothing to do with how you were raised.
Tom Michael. Okay, let me go. Let me talk about what I was gonna say. Oh, crap, it's on my time. I forgot. Crap. No, I don't. I remember. We're talking about what inspires you guys, right? Right? Isn't that what we all talking about?
Oh yeah.
What inspires y'all?
Yeah.
Chris, what inspired you?
To do what?
This.
To do Jeremiah.
No,
he's my 13th reason. Dude, I just drank like 2 whole big cups of water.
All right, you go. I'll talk to Isaiah. So, what inspired me to do what? Like, what exactly?
The podcast.
I don't, because it started off with me just wanting to talk to Jeremiah and recording, because I've always wanted to do like YouTube stuff, but like it was like more and more evolving into like I want to do this as like something like I want to do this as like what's the word, as like something to do for fun, as like, because Jeremiah, I have like the best conversations with him. He is like one of the people, he is the person I'm closest to, and if there's a way that that like me and him could like help other people experience what it's like to have those like nice conversations that are kind of like late night with like the boys, then I'd be very happy, because that's I think that's what I was trying to go for Nurdcast, was that it's a little bit off the rails, but like, you know, it's comforting when it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, really the thing that inspired me was just because the thing that inspired me was multiple things. Like specifically, like Sleepycast, they all sounded like they were having like genuine conversations, and like the feel of Sleepycast overall was just it really did feel like it was a cabin. It really felt like it was a campfire of like people telling stories, and I really liked that feel of like telling stories and just messing around. And I didn't specifically want to be like a copy of Sleepycast, but I wanted to base our blueprint off of Sleepycast, just because Sleepycast is a great podcast, and yeah, no, Sleepycast is a great podcast to make a blueprint off of, and sort of that music in the background that adds that sort of like homey feel, and then just the crazy stories that they have and the jokes that they make. It's just, it feels like a bar, and that's what or it feels like a cabin, but like I wanted to make ours feel like a bar, and yeah, kind of like you're just having like a night at a pretty empty bar with your friends, and you're just kind of sitting there having fun telling stories. Because Sleepy Cabin, they're going for the feel of like a cabin of a few guys just chilling in a cabin. I want to go for a feel that we're just chilling in in sort of a bar, just an abandoned bar with one singular red light that says live, and that's what I based the feel of the podcast on. But really, we just exuberate that feeling, and all we need is just some like jazz from like Nintendo games, like from the game OSTs, and just our conversation, and boom, like it immediately feels like a bar because we just have that feel. Yeah, but yeah, it's really weird because like the older like I get, because I'm obviously not even that old. Like I'm only 14. Like I'm not old at all, but like the more that I get older, the more that I realize that like perhaps I don't want to be like super famous, but rather I want to be famous enough to where I can sustain, I can be financially stable off of entertaining people. And whether that be being a voice actor, or being a show director, or being a podcaster, or being a content creator, anything that I can do that I can occupy someone's time without them minding, and them having a good time while also making money off of that, it sounds ideal, really. And that's the sort of job that I want, is something that I feel like I can sustain. And really, the only days where I feel like not entertaining people are just I don't know, days that I just won't do it. And I want to be in a position where I have enough discipline to like have consistency, but enough leeway to give myself some wiggle room so that I can be comfortable enough to take breaks. And that seems that I don't think that's a very controversial opinion when I say that we all need breaks. We all want a job that gives us breaks and gives us discipline at the same time. And I feel like something like a very chill entertainment job, like voice acting, can actually really give me that opportunity of just chilling and not having to worry too much about like paparazzi, or like a bunch of people coming up to me, and like just people being weird, and like the whole shtick with being super popular.
Hear that, Jazz?
Yeah, you I don't know what Jeremiah wants to do. I don't know what he wants to do, but I know what I want to do. I'm gonna do something like, I want to keep it on the down low, but still, make people happy with my like works.
Mm-hmm. I actually I get that.
The podcast really helps with that because I'm able to like show the podcast to other people, and they show it to their friends, and their friends watch it consistently. It's like we actually get an audience from the people that actually want to watch, and they stick around. And yeah, all of us could have like supporters for whenever either we move on or we progress further into this podcast. This podcast, what's the word?
Business?
Yeah, sort of. It's business.
I get that.
Yeah.
My reason's pretty different from yours, but I get 100% get that.
Yeah.
Like, my reasoning, Jeremiah kind of already got into it earlier when I mentioned it. The reason I joined the podcast is because, oh boy, this is actually kind of making me feel like a certain way. Not like upset, but just like, I'll say.
Just like reminiscing.
Not just like reminiscing. It's kind of like reminiscing, but just kind of like the reason I did it was to make him happy because I knew that it made him happy, and I felt like as his friend, I should have stood by him even when I couldn't, and then it made me feel like, you know what, Jeremiah loves this thing so much, I want to make him happy, so let me try to join this thing and then see if I can make him happy by doing this. And
yeah, definitely.
I guess it works out. I don't know. I'm just happy he's happy, and I'm happy that you're happy because I'm happy that I knew.
Yeah, we all. I think the podcast is sort of in this fortunate position where we're not like super small, but we're growing. Or no, we're like small, but like we're growing basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be in sort of a position where I'm able to talk to people that watch the podcast, so I can get actual feedback. So that I can like help improve the podcast and like have it be more fun to the listeners that actively listen to what we talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we'll have to like change our manner of speak. I mean, besides all the jokes that Jeremiah makes, but like I really think that off of us just like talking like this and just being genuinely like funny, a lot of people are going to like enjoy that because like maybe we're like a different, or maybe we're different in the way that we all are just doing something that other people used to do.
Mm-hmm.
And because you don't see people like actively trying to do all of these things anymore because they're focused on like they're focused purely on growing. But I feel like
they're not focused on showing. You're so right.
Yeah. But
we're the shower podcast.
Yeah, we're the shower podcast. Welcome. No, we're sort of not too interested in growing the podcast a lot. We're just more interested in putting out good stuff. Yeah, being a good podcast.
Yeah. SCP.
Wow, first time on something good for once. Wow.
Yeah.
Fun.
They're making another SCP game?
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, y'all gonna give me nightmares.
Dude, SCP was so fun. Yeah. I remember when SCP was good, but to be fair, that was a long time ago.
That was like PewDiePie days when it was good.
Yeah.
I'm not saying today isn't a PewDiePie day. It's always PewDiePie day. I have a t-shirt that says that. But,
yeah. Look at the PewDiePie horoscope. It says it's PewDiePie day.
It says it's the year of PewDiePie. It's been the year of PewDiePie since 2000.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, what were you saying, Chris? I'm sorry.
Oh no, that was basically all. It's just
What?
none of us really desire to grow big. We just want to
As a good thing.
yeah, we just want to make good stuff.
We just want to make stuff that we're proud of.
Yeah. Because as I was saying,
That
like,
makes us happy.
yeah, I want to be in a comfortable. Because as I get older, I realize that
Growing is everything.
well, as I get older, I
Oh my
realize
God, I
that
think it is everything.
as I get older, I realize that popularity really for like celebrities and internet stuff, popularity is something that is sort of and is an objective for only like I feel like is desired by people who really want attention, and the more attention you get, the more that I feel like you regret, because the more popular you are, the less private your life becomes, the more stressed you are about how you look
You always have to tiptoe around things.
yeah, and I feel like
Cautious.
you're always cautious about the way you look, the way you act, the things you say, and
This
the fact
episode
that
is the perfect example, I think.
and the fact that you are now, your private life is now publicly known by people that you would have never met in your lifetime, and that is something that really doesn't appeal to me in many reasons, many obvious reasons, but one big reason is just because I desire a life where I am just completely separated from a bunch of responsibilities, which, yeah, maybe that's just retirement in a nutshell, but like if I can like live a life where I am entertaining people while also living a stable life off of entertaining people, and not having to like worry about, I don't know, people trying to break in or like paparazzi, that is an ideal life to me. And I no longer want to like become super like well known, like PewDiePie famous or like Markiplier famous. I just want to
Be comfortable.
be in a comfortable popularity position where I'm stable and I'm able to live happy just able to live happy doing what I like to.
Yeah. There is a quote that says, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and I think that absolute popularity also can corrupt absolutely. If you get too big, you kind of get a big head. And
you
can it can change people. It most of the time does. It is at a point now where it is rare that if people are put in a place of power, they abuse it. But I am very 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 for the people that it doesn't corrupt. Like, they're just like, yeah, I'm just me, but I got popular, whereas there's, especially the past couple years, there have been people that have like kind of made their thing, the thing that made them popular, they've used it to manipulate and to basically get either more power or make the power the main reason why they do some of the stuff they do. They're like, he can't touch me, I'm this person. Or
they use their power in order to sort of quench desires that they have had hidden.
Yeah.
I
am very, very congratulatory of the people that are just themselves. Of course, with popularity, you do have to become more cautious and wary of how you present yourself, which is another thing that me and Chris are like, yeah, that's kind of, cringe, but it is a price. There is a price to everything. You can't have your cake and eat it too. It's basically what I'm trying to say. You have
Well,
to.
too bad I'm fat, so I do it anyway.
Yeah, because
I mean, I made the cake for him.
yeah,
Exactly.
He didn't
That's
make
my
it,
boy.
so
He makes
it's
food.
kind of-
He made me some mini social cake. Even though I'm on a fast, I probably gonna eat it on Wednesday.
What the heck? Poppy Playtime is free.
No way. We should play on a podcast, bro. All three of us. We just watch you play it and all get scared at once.
By the way, should we stop it so we have energy to record Metal Gear Rise?
Yeah, I was about to say because I'm scared that I'm gonna like not be able to
We're
record.
gonna be tapped. Be yourself, right? Don't let what people want define what you are. Unless what you are is a really, really bad person. Because
In which
Yeah,
change for the
100%.
better.
instantly change. And if you can't change, kill yourself.